On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport, bound for Beijing, China. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members. Nothing appeared unusual. The Boeing 777 lifted into the darkness shortly after midnight and climbed toward its scheduled cruising altitude. For nearly 40 minutes, everything proceeded normally. The pilots communicated routinely with air traffic controllers as the aircraft crossed the South China Sea. Then, at 1:19 a.m., the cockpit transmitted its final known message. "Good night, Malaysian 370. The transmission sounded ordinary. No distress call was made. No emergency was reported. Yet those simple words would become the final confirmed communication from the aircraft. Moments later, something strange happened. The aircraft's transponder suddenly stopped transmitting. Without a functioning transponder, MH370 became far more difficult for civilian radar systems to track. Then it vanished from civilian radar entirely. To air traffic controllers, the aircraft appeared to disappear. But the mystery was only beginning. Military radar records later revealed that MH370 had not simply vanished. Instead, the aircraft appeared to make a dramatic turn. Rather than continuing toward Beijing, it reversed course and flew back across the Malaysian peninsula. Investigators were left with a troubling question. Why had the aircraft changed direction? And who, or what, had altered its course? As the aircraft continued through the night, another mystery emerged. MH370 had not completely disappeared. Unknown to investigators at the time, a satellite communication system aboard the aircraft was still exchanging automatic signals with an Inmarsat satellite. These signals, later known as satellite pings, would become one of the most important clues in the entire investigation. The pings did not reveal the aircraft's exact location. Instead, they provided rough arcs showing possible positions over time. By analyzing these signals, investigators concluded that MH370 continued flying for several hours after disappearing from civilian radar. The satellite data pointed investigators toward a vast and remote region of the southern Indian Ocean, an area so large that searching it would become one of the most difficult operations in aviation history. As news of the disappearance spread across the world, an unprecedented search operation began. Ships, aircraft, satellites, and international teams were mobilized. Years later, the first significant clues finally emerged. Pieces of aircraft debris began washing ashore on distant coastlines. A wing component known as a flaperon was discovered on Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean. Additional fragments were later recovered from locations along the coast of Africa. Experts concluded that several of these pieces almost certainly originated from MH370. The discoveries confirmed one heartbreaking reality. The aircraft had ended its journey somewhere in the Indian Ocean, but exactly where remained unknown. As investigators searched for answers, numerous theories emerged. One possibility was mechanical failure. Perhaps a catastrophic malfunction had disabled critical systems and left the crew unable to communicate. Some experts suggested a fire or electrical failure may have played a role, but evidence supporting this theory remained limited. Another theory proposed that the aircraft had been hijacked. Could someone on board have intentionally diverted the flight? Could the disappearance have been the result of a criminal act? Investigators examined this possibility extensively, yet no conclusive evidence ever emerged. Others focused on the actions of the pilots. Some researchers suggested the aircraft's unusual movements indicated deliberate human control. This theory generated significant debate and controversy. However, investigators were unable to establish a definitive explanation. No single theory successfully answered every question. More than a decade later, MH370 remains one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. Despite extensive searches, sophisticated technology, and years of investigation, the aircraft's final location remains unknown. The disappearance transformed aviation safety procedures and sparked one of the largest investigations ever conducted. Yet the central question remains unanswered. What happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370? Despite everything we know, its final story remains unwritten. This has been the Abyss Archives, documenting the unexplained.